Hey, it's Anne from Line and Circle. I'm here on a beautiful spring day in North Carolina to talk to you a little bit about angle hooping. What is angle hooping? It's hooping around the core with the hoop at an angle instead of just on the horizontal plane. Why should you angle hoop? Well, for one thing, it looks cool. No matter what angle you're doing, and we'll talk about that a little bit. It also really gives you strong abs. And I just thought I would give you guys a little sound effect of 10 years of hooping, and a lot of that has been angle hooping. I'm a particular fan of earth angle hooping facing down, and we'll talk about that and its origins more as this tutorial commences. Another reason why angle hooping is great is that when we look at the metaphor of angle hooping, when we think about the movement as a part of a movement meditation, a dynamic movement meditation, that the hoop can really support and sustain in your movement practice, if you haven't discovered that already, but I'm sure most of you have. The action of the angle is bowing down to the earth. When we hoop at the angle, we bow, and we also change our orientation towards the traditional axis of time and space, which is the X and Y axis, which is linear time, which is calendars and days and hours and minutes. And when we angle hoop, when we shift off of that X and Y axis with our hoops, we bend into a different experience of time. And the hoop already changes our experience of time because of its rhythm. But when we hoop on the angle, when we take our intention bowing down to the earth, and also when we hoop in sky angle, in what I know as sky angle, we also open the heart up to the sky, to the infinite. And so in these ways, when we angle hoop, we're taking a physical gesture and using that to briefly inhabit another sense of time. I myself have found it very tonic to the slings and arrows of daily life. And yeah, I can't recommend angle hooping enough. I just love it, as you will see. We're going to begin with earth angle at the waist. Now, waist angle hooping is actually the hardest of any kind of angle hooping, especially earth angle. So earth angle on the waist, if you get this, you basically got everything else. So go ahead and begin with a nice waist groove and feel how the action of the hoop going around is something that translates into the soles of the feet, and how there's also a rhythm in the soles of the feet, even if you're just standing still with the hoop. Now we're going to tap into that rhythm for angle hooping. We're going to really try to exaggerate that. So this is going to be tip number one, is really exaggerate the feeling of pressure in your feet. Really notice that. Really bring your awareness and attention to the feet. And it seems counterintuitive because the hoop is around the waist and we're going to be bending the upper body, but actually so much of angle hooping, even upwards of 60 to 70%, I would say, if you were to break it down scientifically, is determined by the feet. And so we're feeling into our feet, and we also, as we do that, we want to relax the feet. So that's an important part of feeling any part of our body, is relaxing first, going into that zone and noticing how we're holding the bones, how we're holding the muscles, and just relaxing that against the floor. And with the feet, it's really easy because we can do it against the floor. We can relax into the floor and then really start feeling into that weight shift. And you want to start exaggerating that weight shift as you feel it. 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you do this with a nice big mama hoop, forgiving, spacious hoop, you'll feel that rhythm. 1, 2, really clearly. So that's going to be step number one, finding that rhythm at the waist. Now we're going to take this forward. We're going to take this relaxation of the feet and we're going to start to shift the angle of the hoop. I'm going to shift my angle towards the camera so you can see this a little bit better. Now tip number 2 is going to be to hinge at the hips, okay? If we try to hinge at the waist here, notice how my hoop is not actually changing planes. If I really bend at the waist, it's not really changing the plane of my hoop. The entire plane of the hoop's rotation needs to change. The whole axis needs to move from being straight on this y-axis, straight aligned with the y-axis. I need to actually make a break there and shift it and shift the whole degree of the line. But what I don't want to do is bend the line. So be conscious of the hinge in the hips and moving forward from that place. Now we're going to go back to the relaxed rhythm between the two sides of the body, and then we're going to gently hinge forward at the hips, and oh my God, check it out. The hoop moves forward, moves down. Now I'll shift back towards the camera, and then you'll see as I exaggerate that movement from side to side, that total weight shift, a complete weight shift between the two sides of the body. As I hinge forward from the hips, lo and behold, I'm in earth angle. How sweet it is. How sonorous. One of the exercises that we did a whole bunch with Baxter in the early days was earth angle hooping around the neck. And we'll start this going around the neck. Make sure your hoop is light enough so that it doesn't really press on your throat here. And here you see how much movement is possible. Woo! And how much gutter contact is possible when you get into the angle at the neck. Yeah, and use this, really use this as an opportunity to get hinged at the hips and to fully shift the weight from side to side. Doing the backs. Okay, for our 4th tip, I'm going to just talk a little bit about sky angle. So hooping at the opposite angle, leaning back, opening up the front of the body, and letting the hoop tip upwards towards the sky. So to start off sky angle, you still want to have that weight shift, but instead of hinging forward at the hips, see this time we're not going to be able to hinge quite in the same way because our skeleton doesn't move backwards like that. Our hips don't hinge backwards like that. So we're really going to have to again sink into the feet and legs, and this time we really want to think about relaxing the legs so that we can bend into the legs and sink down into the heels. So we'll be sinking down into the heels as we push with the pelvis curving underneath. I'm facing the sun as it goes down, and really, really leaning back into the hoop, leaning back, leaning back, leaning back, leaning back. Yeah. As I start to build into my sky angle from the waist, I'm really sinking back into the heels, and I'm allowing the feet to sink into the floor, but then I'm picking up the heels 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, side to side, and I'm feeling, oh yeah, it magnifies, angle hooping magnifies all uneven balance between the two sides of the body. So I'm feeling it. I'm not engaging my right side as much as I should be. So as our final exercise, we're going to talk about moving into sky angle from the shoulders. So these are just some general guidelines for you all as you dip into angle hooping. I really, a la Baxter, I like to dip into angles from the conventional plane, the horizontal plane, because it helps keep my skills sharp. It helps me stay connected to the hoop. So I'm going to show you guys I'm shoulder hooping now. I'm standing still. This in and of itself is an exercise worth doing, just standing still. And shoulder hooping, of course, a big hoop makes it so much nicer. So, and I'm going to move into sky angle. I'm going to start making these circles with my arms that you see. I'm drawing circles with my arms. I'm going to make those a little bit smaller. I'm going to draw them a little closer to my body. I'm going to start leaning my heart back. I'm again leaning into the heels, right? I'm still shifting the effort from one side of the body to the other fully. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and see how the circles of my arms remain. And see how the circles are syncopated to one another. One is a half beat behind the other always. The yin and the yang. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then of course, changing currents. And then you're going to see the weight distribute itself in the opposite current. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And see how the arms and the legs work together to make this possible. To make this angle possible. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. Thanks so much. I hope that helped. Keep in touch with me here or find me on Facebook, Line and Circle page. And I also have a website, lineandcircle.com. And I'll be happy to answer any questions in the comments here or send me an email, ann@lineandcircle.com. Thanks so much. Bye. Till next time.
There's a quiet and peaceful county in the state of Tennessee. You will find it in a book that they call geography. Not famous for its farming, its mining, or its stills, but I know there's chilling and cooking in them Cheatham County hills. When it's chilling cooking time in Cheatham County.